everyone, so I wanted to show you guys a list of classroom mannerisms that I've learned along the way of being an ALT and from my previous degree in education. So these are mannerisms that I think are like ridiculously important in the classroom. Especially as an ALT, you have to be a little bit of a performer. Sort of, at least for elementary. I find you need to really grab them in because you need to sell English to them and they're gonna want to buy it, kind of thing, right? So, okay, these are the mannerisms. Number one is voice level. So you can talk really low or you can talk really, really loud, and you can do the variation thing with your voice, and that'll kind of pull them in. Same with tone. You don't want to be super monotone, but at the same time, don't strain yourself. It's okay. Okay, so the next one is gestures, especially for being an ALT. I find even things like it's hot, it's very hot, or I'm hungry, or I'm sad, what's this? What's this? So a lot of gesturing, it can get kind of tiring, but it definitely helps with the lesson if you show what you're saying, either in pictures or in your gestures. It's really, really important. So the next one is eye contact. Now, in the beginning of me being an ALT, I was really shy and I didn't really want to look my kids in the eyes. But I've come to learn that if you do that, it becomes much more personal to them and they get a little bit more engaged in the lesson. So if a student looks like they're just kind of, daydreaming or whatever, you can look at them and then just look at them for a moment and talk to them, or talk while looking at them, and then it just it brings them in, right? So eye contact. The next is speech speed. So you can talk really super duper fast, or you can talk very slowly. It depends on the English level of the students. I've been told in some classes to speed up, so I can talk more of like a natural speaker, and then in some classes I've been told to slow down. So that's specifically an ALT thing. Okay, next is move around. Basically, I find in Japanese classrooms it's very common for teachers to stand right at the front of the class, and I kind of get a little bit hyper, so I like going around different desks and going to different groups as I'm talking to the whole class, right? So walking around, moving around, it kind of wakes students up sometimes, so it really helps walking around. People or students pipe up a little bit. Okay, the next is Trouble Maker TLC. So this is a huge one. This is basically behavior management in your classroom, and every teacher does it differently. Every classroom is different, but I find the students who are super ADD, where they've got a lot of energy, they can't stop moving, they can't stop talking, I usually get those kids to do a lot of examples for me. And I usually call on them first to do a lot of what's this? And then I'll point to the student who's very hyper. So you can use them to your benefit. Rowdy students, defiant students, those ones are a little bit more tough to deal with. You can walk up next to them and be very personal with them and just ask them a question on their level, actually go down and look at them in the eye and say, so what do you think? What's this? Right? Just getting really close to them. So that's my TLC, is kind of kill them with kindness, include them as much as you can, and eventually they might pipe up more and be a good student kind of thing. But that is definitely not an ALT, a JET program ALT is not supposed to really be the disciplinary person. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, but just being that one-on-one with them, it really engages them more. Okay, next, the last is be a comedian. So I've had very awkward moments in the classroom, and you run with those moments. The kids love it. So basically, imagine I would say something, and then like maybe a joke or something, and the kids would not really get it. If you stand there and you just kind of like, and just like look at them and make really funny faces, they start laughing, and then they kind of get more into it, right? And another really important thingy that I forgot to say earlier is like, usually for troublemakers, as an ALT, you'll have your Japanese teacher with you. And if they're teaching, this is more so for my junior high. So my partner teacher is teaching a lesson. I can see some kids are not paying attention at all, and my JTE isn't really doing anything about it. So what I'll do is I'll stand behind my JTE and I'll do like ridiculous faces. So I'll just be like, and just stare at the kids, and then eventually they catch it and they start laughing, and then like if we're using the CD on the TV to read text from the textbook, then I'll just like, I'll mouth it, but I won't say it, and I'll just like act all like super ditzy or whatever. And just adding that little bit of element to the English lesson, the kids really, really like it. So I guess like the biggest thing that I can get across to you guys out of classroom mannerisms is like your gestures, your voice level, and like acting. So just you know, don't be afraid to over exaggerate things, basically. Now, I understand not every ALT is like super, whoa, I like gestures, I like doing things, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to share this with you as an ALT who's worked with other kids and stuff. So anyways, thank you very, very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.